Welcome to opinionsarethree.com. It's Thursday, November the 28th, 2024. I want to talk to you about something that's very important. I'm sitting here and I'm wearing my official opinionsarethree.com shirt. One day you will see these in dollar store bins all over the world, or 2-for-1s or whatever. But for now, I've got the only one, so I'm very proud. Anyways, Australia has is imposing a ban on social media for kids 16 and under. Now, how do you say dumb in Australian, by the way, before we go on? I know that in the US you might say dumb, in Canada you might say dumb, and in England you might say daft, but in Australia would you say dumb or daft? I don't know, you tell me. But you're putting a ban on something. We all know that when you ban something or make it illegal, it suddenly becomes unpopular, right? Yeah, okay. Just like speeding. If you wanted to stop speeding, you just make it twice as illegal. That way, people will stop doing it, right? It happens everywhere that way. Now, one day we're going to have these little devices in our cars when we're all driving, these little electric whizzies that will automatically send out a note when we pass by a speeding sign that has, let's say, 100 kilometers or 120 kilometers on it, or 60 miles, whatever, depending on where you are. And it will send a note saying, hey, you're speeding. And it will go to the authority via one of those Musk satellites, and it will automatically suck the money right out of your wallet. Then if you want, you can go to court and prove that it wasn't you, but we know that it was you, so you're not going to fight that. Now, we're talking about a whole different scary future, but what I'm saying is technology can be used for good or bad. In Australia, they want to put a ban on social media for kids 16 and under because there's a lot of harm on social media, not because these things are inherently dangerous, but because people misuse it or use it to abuse people. All right. Now, if kids don't use TikTok or whatever social media, and most of these actually have limitations on adult material, such as TikTok will have an adult site specification, so you could filter out that ability. But kids will still go onto the internet and go to the porn sites because you're not really putting up any blocks to that kind of stuff. Now, if you want to put on blocks against porn sites, all you have to do is mandate that the end of any site ends with the suffix .prn or .adu. .adu for adult, .prn for porn material. So they're slightly two different things, but they're both adult themed. And that way, parents, users, businesses, libraries, schools, whatever, can put very strong filters that will not allow that device to go to one of these sites. And you could even watermark all of the images on those sites so they cannot be copied and downloaded. Now, someone is going to develop a crack for it. We know that they always do. But in the interim, it's going to be restricted, okay? So in that way, you make it a lot easier to filter these things away from kids. As for the social media, that's a whole different issue because now we have adult-themed sites, which you can restrict a little easier on the platforms that either don't allow it or allow password type access to it. But you can't stop some jackass from pretending that he or she is a 16-year-old kid and asking for a picture of your body. So that's where education comes in, and I think the education is very important, more important perhaps than a ban, because once our kids understand that this stuff can happen. Now, the reality is that kids are kids, and even with education, they are still going to do things they shouldn't do, and it's very difficult to filter everything out. But the point I'm trying to make is that they have to develop stronger technologies with these social media platforms that will prevent these things from being posted, and also very, very strong punishments for people who post these kind of things. And I don't care if you're 16 or 60. If you tell someone to go kill themselves because they're ugly, you're an abusive individual and you should be dealt with that way accordingly. Now, people will say, well, hold on a second, you're restricting freedom of expression and freedom of speech, blah, 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 blah. That's great. You can make arguments about this until or whatever you want. But the reality is that freedom of speech has a certain amount of responsibility attached to it, doesn't it? And by putting .prn and .adu behind the site, you're not restricting those sites from selling their product or services. You're simply putting filters which will enable you to filter them away from younger people who shouldn't be using them anyways. All right? And you give these sites a 30-day grace period. After that 30 days, if you haven't changed it to .prn.edu, you are taken out and you cannot transmit or sell your product or promote your product in that particular jurisdiction. We know that this type of throttling is allowed. So yes, there are some questions that are going to be asked regarding freedom of expression and, you know, all these things. But most of those are minor inconveniences that when you look at it very carefully, don't hold any water, because you're not restricting the use, you're not restricting the ability to promote a certain product or service, you're simply limiting who can access those. Okay? Now, if you as a parent want to give your 12-year-old Jimmy or Jenny the password so they can go and access this material, then it speaks more of your problems than someone else's. And that's another part of the problem as well. You have parents who are very lenient about this kind of stuff. So again, you have to now look at a whole other group of laws that have to be strengthened so that kids are not sexploited by either other kids or by media or by Hollywood. I mean, look at the ratings for some of these movies, the violence and whatnot. You tell me that a 16-year-old can't see a breast, but, you know, they can see people's heads get blown off. I think we're going the wrong way on that. And we all have an opinion on that, but I'm talking specifically now about social media and the internet. How can we make those safer? And I think the best way is to put .prn and .edu behind all of these adult sites. Start with those and then work on the social media as well so that we can keep this stuff away from kids. You have an opinion, opinionsarefree.com. Click on the box, leave your opinion, please. Leave your first name, where you're from. Don't have to leave me your last name. I'm not asking that. And do not post any links. They will not be accepted. I just want to hear your opinion on this or any other topic, okay? Have a great day, and I hope that you and your kids are safe. Bye-bye.